Wow. I want to take this minute to thank Joe Kiani and the patient safety movement for giving me this chance to be with you today and for this wonderful experience that we've had for the past hour and a half. It's a great privilege and a great honor to be in your great country and to learn from the expertise and the knowledge that is in this hall and from the wisdom that has been shared with us during the past 48 hours. And to put into perspective what I would like to present to you, which is what has made me build a hospital in Somaliland, a country that is not even on your maps, even though I'm happy to see that it is on this map. But it's a country that has 4 million inhabitants. It is bigger than 18 countries in Africa. It has a bigger population than another 18 countries in Africa. And it's a country that was the former British Somaliland Protectorate, the only Somali territory that had never been colonized. We had a treaty of protection with Great Britain, but had never been colonized. And yet, the name that was given to us 160, 170 years ago, Somaliland, is often denied to us and referred to us as Somalia, which we are not. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about a commitment that I, my staff, the management of my hospital in Somaliland wish to make, a pledge to prevent and to ensure patient safety. The people who come and seek help from us come to us because they expect professional expertise, they expect from us compassion, and they trust us with their lives and know that and hope that we will look after them to the best of our ability. Unfortunately, my country has known war. But before the war, it was a great country that had good relations with the world. And as you see from the picture behind me, my late husband, first husband, and late president of Somaliland, was hosted by presidents and governments. And a great occasion was when we were hosted in the White House by President Johnson and Lady Bird, and with Vice President Hubert Humphrey and Mrs. Humphrey. And it was time of great pomp and pageantry. My husband and his delegation were received on the west lawn of the White House with a 21-gun salute. We were flown in from the airport with the presidential helicopter. We spent a good many very, very generous, beautiful occasions during a week that we toured your great country, the United States. In fact, on the logbook of Apollo 11, our signatures should be there because that was part of the places that we had been taken to. But things change, and often change for the worse. And war broke out, civil war between Somaliland and Somalia. Wars kill. kill in such a way that there is no discrimination between killing a baby, a woman, an old person, an infirm. 250,000 of our people died. 26 mass graves have been catalogued by the United Nations to this date, and new mass graves are found. One was found just last year. I don't see the valor and the bravery of putting 5-year-old children into mass graves, but somebody must have felt very brave doing that. Wars kill and also destroy. 95% of our cities were flattened. Healthcare professionals who had been trained before the war fled the country for their lives. Many were killed. Others sought refuge in your great countries. This picture that you see means a lot to me. It was taken in a ward of a hospital that once bore my father's name, the Dr. Adan Ismail Hospital. I remember as a child, that hospital was clean, smelled good, and definitely had no goats. And it is that goat and that scene that made me understand and realize that all my people had was the goodwill of a nurse. I'm a nurse, I'm a midwife, and I was all they had. And you might as well know that I suffer from a very bad disease, one which I hope you will never find a cure for. My disease is called, I've got to fix that. So when I retired from the UN, I just recycled my whole life. I recycled everything I had into cold cash. What would I do with a beautiful Mercedes that I love very much? My country had no roads, had no mechanics, had no spare parts, had no fuel. Sold it. What am I going to do with a washing machine? What am I going to do with all the electrical appliances that we all become so used to? I sold my jewelry. I'm happy wearing a 50 rupee trinket that I bought in one of the airports. Sold my jewelry to pay for pipes and faucets and toilets. When I had my jewelry, I spent hours remembering what was the combination of the safety box. How much, when was my insurance due on my jewelry? I sold my jewelry and I bought toilets with it. And today, I use my toilet several times a day. And over 100 patients and staff and relatives and students use them with me. My intention was to build a hospital that would provide maternity care. The hospital was built on a site, by the way, that was once used as a military parade ground, a trash dump, and at one time, an execution ground. Freedom fighters were often executed on that site. But that was the only place that was big enough to hold the kind of hospital I wanted to build for my people. My hospital had to be in the poor part of Somaliland, of Hargeisa, in an area where they had never had a hospital before. That site, that was once a trash dump, is also where I live and where I have lived for the past 15 years. I live above the pediatric ward, and I hear what they're doing to the kids below me. And when I hear a child crying for longer than a child should be crying, I call and I say, what are you doing to this child? Are you killing it or what? Somebody comfort that child. It's my home. It's my choice. And that's where I'm going back to when I leave your great country and this great hotel. The hospital has become a referral hospital, a teaching hospital, because the greatest gift I want to leave for my people is the gift of knowledge. The knowledge that you, the world, has given me. I'm grateful to Great Britain for having given me the education that has served me so well. I'm grateful to France for having taught me my first schooling in Djibouti, who taught me la langue française. I'm grateful to the United States and for the education and the honors that you have bestowed upon me. The medical mission halls of fame that you have included my name on. I'm grateful to the nations. I'm grateful to Holland for having given me my first premature baby incubator, to Denmark for having given me the generator that I use today to keep my blood bank and our vaccines refrigerated around the clock. I'm grateful to Israel for having given me my first anesthesia machine. I'm grateful to all the volunteers and experts who have come to me to teach, to show us how to look after the sick better. I'm grateful to the local community who fuel me with their prayers and their encouragements. I'm grateful to my staff. And I will share with you the story of a little girl who applied to my first nursing school. She's one of these, in the dark blue girls. She was tiny and was definitely not 18 years, which she should have been. And I said, well, this child needs to come back in 3 or 4 years. She's a baby. I cannot train her. But she was the top of the class. And boy, oh boy, am I glad I was wrong. She excelled in nursing. She excelled in midwifery. I gave her a scholarship and sent her to medical school. She graduated in 2011. Today is a surgeon, is the one who's saving lives. And, wait for it, she was trained to insert shunts. And she is the referral person in the Horn of Africa for children who are born with spina bifida, hydrocephaly, club feet. They come to that little girl who I almost kicked out. Boy, oh boy, am I glad I was wrong. That little girl last year was invited to speak about the 340 children in whom she has inserted a shunt. The American College of Surgeons in Washington. That girl presented her findings on the 340 children that she had operated upon. A girl who had gone to school in a refugee camp. A girl who had learned to read and write on sand, because when she was of school age, it was wartime and there were no papers and there was no pen and pencil. Today, she inserts shunts. Today, it is that girl, that doctor, that female doctor, who they call at 2 a.m. to perform a cesarean section and save a baby and a mother. She is one of the first 3 or 4 female doctors that we have in Somaliland. This hospital has taught me to do whatever we can with what we have. And we can do what we can with what we know. And my target was to train 1,000 midwives, because we don't have enough doctors. And doctors won't go to mountains and villages. But if I can train 1,000 midwives, they will be saving the lives. And in my small hospital, built on a trash dump, on a once execution ground, we have delivered over 20,000 babies in 15 years, treated another 21,000 male, female, and non-pregnant other sick people. But sadly, we have lost 58 mothers out of the 20,000 who we assisted. I know it's a quarter of the national average, but it's still 58 mothers too many who would have been saved if they had been brought to us in good time. I'm sharing this with you because if lives can be saved in one of the poorest countries in the world, Somaliland, in a hospital that was built by an old retired Somali woman, lives can be saved everywhere. The answer is determination. Believe in yourself. And as my father would often say, if you want to do something, first learn to do it with your heart, and then your hands will learn to do it afterwards. Let us all do what we can for the sick, with our hearts, with compassion, with respect to human dignity and human values. And I thank you for this great opportunity, but please share knowledge with us. Teach us how to do things better. Show us how you have gotten to where you have. And at 79, that is the message that I am leaving with the world. I thank you all very much. It's a great honor and a great opportunity.